Most people wake up and immediately destroy their chances of burning belly fat today. The first hour after waking decides whether your body burns fat or stores it. This window is more powerful than your diet, workout, or any supplement you take. Your body makes a hormonal decision within minutes of waking that lasts all day. Later meals and exercise cannot fully reverse what happens during this early morning window. Most people unknowingly send the wrong signals during this critical period every single morning. Those wrong signals tell the body to protect fat instead of releasing it safely. Understanding this changes everything about how you approach mornings and fat loss permanently. This is not about discipline, motivation, or waking up earlier than you already do. It is about sending the right biological signals at the most sensitive time daily. Your body is not broken or stubborn. It is simply responding to wrong signals. Fix the signals in the morning window and your body begins releasing fat naturally. The science behind this comes down to one hormone most people misunderstand completely daily. That hormone is cortisol, and it controls whether belly fat is stored or burned. Cortisol is not bad by itself. Your body needs it to wake up properly.
Every morning, your cortisol naturally rises in what scientists call the cortisol awakening response. This rise is normal, healthy, and designed to give you energy for the day. The problem begins when this natural rise gets pushed higher by wrong morning signals. When cortisol spikes too high, your body shifts into a protective fat storage mode. Belly fat specifically has far more cortisol receptors than fat stored anywhere else on your body. This makes abdominal fat incredibly sensitive to stress signals received during early morning hours. Your body treats visceral fat as a strategic energy reserve during times of perceived threat. High morning cortisol tells the body a threat is present and fat must be protected. The body responds by activating enzymes that pull circulating energy directly into belly fat storage. That enzyme is called lipoprotein lipase, and it acts like a fat storage switch daily. Once this switch flips on in the morning, it stays active for many hours after. No workout or healthy meal later can fully override what this enzyme decided early on. This is why people exercise hard and eat well, but still struggle losing belly fat. The solution is not more effort. The solution is preventing that switch from flipping. You do that by sending safety signals to your body during the first waking hour. Safety signals tell the nervous system that resources are available and no threat is present.
When the body feels safe, cortisol declines naturally and fat becomes accessible for energy use. This is the entire foundation of what makes this morning routine so powerfully effective daily. Now let us walk through exactly what sends the right signals in the morning window. The very first thing to understand is that your body wakes up in a dehydrated state. You have gone 7 to 9 hours without drinking any water during the night sleeping. This level of dehydration alone is enough to elevate cortisol before you even get out of bed. Dehydration signals resource scarcity to your adrenal system within minutes of waking each morning. Your adrenal glands respond to this signal by releasing more cortisol into your bloodstream rapidly. More cortisol means more activation of fat storage enzymes, particularly around the belly and abdomen. This is why hydration is not just a health tip, it is a metabolic signal. Drinking plain water with a small amount of sodium and potassium changes everything quickly. These minerals signal to the adrenal system that resources are available and conditions are safe. Sodium and potassium together restore fluid balance inside cells and reduce adrenal stress response. This simple combination lowers cortisol output before fat storage enzymes ever get activated daily. It does not need to be a complicated electrolyte drink or an expensive supplement product. A glass of water with a pinch of sea salt does exactly what your body needs. This single action in the first 5 minutes shifts your metabolism toward fat-burning mode. Nothing else costs less effort and delivers more metabolic benefit than this foundational morning step. Once you have hydrated with minerals, the next signal comes from natural morning sunlight exposure. Your metabolism is governed by an internal clock called the circadian rhythm, operating daily inside you. This clock controls when hormones rise, when fat is burned, and when energy is stored. The most powerful signal to reset and align this clock is natural sunlight in the morning. When light enters your eyes in the morning, it travels directly to the brain's master clock. This signal tells the brain that daytime is here and it is safe to be active. The brain responds by suppressing excess cortisol and preparing insulin sensitivity for upcoming food intake. Without this light signal, your hormonal timing stays confused and fat storage patterns remain elevated. Indoor artificial lighting is far too weak to send this signal properly to your brain. Even a bright indoor room provides only a fraction of the light needed for proper alignment. Going outside for just 10 minutes in the morning provides enough natural light for alignment. You do not need direct sunlight. Even cloudy morning light is sufficient for this signal. This 10-minute outdoor exposure resets your hormonal clock and supports fat burning throughout the day.
It costs nothing, requires no equipment, and produces measurable hormonal benefits every single morning. Missing this step leaves your circadian rhythm misaligned and your fat storage hormones unnecessarily elevated. The third signal involves something most people do every single morning without thinking about consequences. They make coffee and drink it immediately after waking, before anything else has happened biologically. This habit feels productive, but it is quietly working against visceral fat loss every morning. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine, a chemical in your brain that builds sleepiness over time. When you sleep, your body clears some adenosine, but not all of it by morning. If you drink coffee before this clearance completes, you disrupt your natural wake-up chemistry significantly. Your body responds to early caffeine by producing more cortisol during an already sensitive period. This additional cortisol surge adds fuel to the fat storage fire that was already burning. The result is stronger activation of fat storage enzymes, particularly in visceral abdominal fat tissue. You feel energized temporarily, but your metabolism has been pushed further into storage mode quietly. The fix is simply waiting 90 minutes after waking before consuming your first cup of coffee. This delay allows adenosine clearance to complete and cortisol to rise and fall naturally undisturbed.
After 90 minutes, your natural energy systems have stabilized and caffeine works more efficiently overall. You get better energy, fewer afternoon crashes, and reduced stress hormone activity around belly fat. This small timing shift costs nothing, but delivers significant metabolic benefits every single morning consistently. Most people resist this idea because morning coffee feels essential and deeply habitual to them. But the habit itself is not the problem. The timing of the habit is everything. Shift it 90 minutes later, and the same coffee becomes a fat loss supporting tool daily. The fourth signal comes from how you move your body during the first waking hour daily. Many people believe that intense morning workouts are the best way to accelerate fat burning quickly. The reality is that high-intensity exercise during this window often backfires on belly fat specifically. Your nervous system is in a sensitive state after waking, and it interprets intense effort as threat. Intense exercise during high cortisol periods sends a danger signal that amplifies fat storage responses. The body reacts by holding onto visceral fat even more tightly as a protective survival response. This is why aggressive morning training sometimes causes people to gain belly fat despite working hard. The alternative is low-intensity forward movement, such as a slow and relaxed outdoor walk instead.
Walking sends a completely different set of signals to your nervous system and hormonal systems. Forward movement creates something called optic flow, the visual experience of moving through space calmly. Optic flow directly reduces activity in the amygdala, which is the brain's primary stress response center. When amygdala activity drops, cortisol follows, and the body shifts away from fat storage mode naturally. A slow 20-minute walk outside combines optic flow, sunlight, and gentle movement into one activity. This combination sends a powerful, coordinated safety signal that lowers stress hormones across the whole body. You are not burning significant calories during this walk, and that is completely fine here. The goal is not calorie burning. The goal is hormonal signaling and cortisol management specifically. Get the hormones right in the morning and your body burns fat automatically throughout the rest of the day. This is a fundamentally different approach than trying to force fat loss through intense early exercise. It works because it cooperates with your biology instead of fighting against it every morning. The fifth signal is the one most people will find the most difficult to implement daily. It involves your phone, and specifically about not touching it for the first 30 minutes after waking. Most people reach for their phone within seconds of opening their eyes in the morning today. Notifications, social media, news, messages, all of it floods into your awareness instantly after waking. This flood of information triggers a dopamine and stress response in the brain immediately upon exposure. Your nervous system shifts into high alert mode, trying to process all of this incoming stimulation. High alert mode keeps cortisol elevated well beyond its natural awakening peak in the morning window. Sustained cortisol reinforces the fat storage patterns you are trying to prevent during this critical period. It also impairs the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for recovery and metabolic flexibility. When the parasympathetic system is suppressed, fat burning potential is significantly reduced throughout the entire day. Delaying phone use for just 30 minutes allows the nervous system to settle into a calmer state. Cortisol follows its natural rise and decline without being artificially pushed higher by reactive stimulation. The parasympathetic system activates, metabolic flexibility improves, and fat burning becomes more accessible naturally. This boundary does not require any willpower after the first few days of consistent practice. It simply requires understanding why the boundary matters and choosing biology over habit in the morning. 30 minutes of calm in the morning is worth more metabolically than any supplement or fat burner. These 5 signals together form a coordinated sequence that communicates one clear message to your body. That message is, conditions are safe, resources are available, and stored fat can be released now. Your body is constantly listening for this message during the first hour after waking each day. When it receives this message clearly and consistently, visceral fat becomes accessible for energy production naturally. When it receives the opposite message, belly fat is locked away and protected against perceived scarcity. The difference between these two outcomes comes entirely from the signals you send in the morning window. Now let us talk about what actually happens inside your body when these 5 steps are followed. Within the first few minutes of drinking mineralized water, adrenal stress output begins to decline noticeably. Cortisol levels start adjusting downward as the body interprets hydration as a signal of resource availability. Lipoprotein lipase, the fat storage enzyme, does not receive the activation signal it would otherwise get. This means circulating fatty acids remain available for energy use rather than being locked into storage. When you step outside and receive natural morning light, the circadian clock receives its reset signal. Hormonal timing aligns properly, and insulin sensitivity begins improving for the meals you will eat later. Your fat cells respond to improved insulin sensitivity by becoming more willing to release stored energy. Visceral fat specifically becomes more metabolically active and available when insulin sensitivity is working correctly. When you wait 90 minutes before caffeine, cortisol completes its natural arc without artificial amplification occurring. The nervous system stabilizes, and the hormonal environment becomes genuinely supportive of fat oxidation processes. When you walk slowly outside, optic flow calms the amygdala, and stress hormones decline further still. Blood flow improves, oxygen delivery increases, and your body shifts into a relaxed metabolic steady state. Fat-burning enzymes become more active as stress hormones step back from their morning peak naturally. When you protect your attention from phones and stimulation, the parasympathetic nervous system gains dominance. Heart rate variability improves, cortisol continues declining, and metabolic flexibility reaches its optimal morning state. By the time you have completed this routine, your hormonal environment is profoundly different from baseline. Cortisol has risen naturally and is now declining smoothly rather than staying elevated from wrong signals. Fat storage enzymes are inactive, leaving visceral fat accessible for energy use throughout the entire day. Your insulin sensitivity is optimized, supporting stable blood sugar and reduced cravings for the hours ahead. Your nervous system is calm, your circadian rhythm is aligned, and your metabolism is genuinely flexible. This is the hormonal state that allows fat loss to happen without forcing, restricting, or suffering.
Most people never experience this state because they unknowingly disrupt it every single morning without realizing. They wake up dehydrated, skip sunlight, drink coffee immediately, exercise intensely, and check their phones instantly. Each of those habits sends a stress signal that elevates cortisol and activates fat storage processes. They then spend the rest of the day confused about why fat loss feels so impossibly hard. The routine is not failing them. The morning signals are failing them before the day even begins. This is also why so many people feel exhausted by midday despite sleeping a full night previously. Disrupted morning cortisol patterns lead to energy crashes later in the day with no clear cause. Fixing morning signals stabilizes energy across the entire day without relying on caffeine or stimulants constantly. People who follow this approach consistently report feeling more energetic, clearer mentally, and less hungry overall. These are not placebo effects. They are direct outcomes of proper hormonal alignment in the morning. When cortisol follows a healthy pattern, serotonin and dopamine also stabilize throughout the rest of the day. When circadian rhythms align, sleep quality improves, which further reduces stress hormone output the next morning.
The benefits compound over time because each aligned morning makes the next morning slightly easier biologically. Your body begins to trust that resources will be available and conditions will remain safe each day. This trust reduces the baseline level of stress hormones your body operates with on a daily basis. Lower baseline cortisol means less chronic activation of fat storage enzymes around the belly specifically. Visceral fat that has been accumulating for years begins to slowly release as the body feels safe. This process is not instant, but it is consistent, sustainable, and requires no extreme effort from you. You are not fighting your biology. You are finally cooperating with it for the first time. That cooperation is what makes this approach fundamentally different from every diet or exercise program available. Diets try to override the body's signals through restriction and force, which increases cortisol chronically. Exercise programs try to force fat loss through effort, which can amplify stress hormones when mistimed. Both approaches can work in the short term, but they often create hormonal resistance over longer periods. This morning routine removes the hormonal resistance first, making every other fat loss effort more effective. When stress hormones are low and the body feels safe, diet and exercise work far more efficiently. A moderate calorie deficit feels manageable instead of torturous because hunger hormones are properly regulated.
Exercise produces better results because cortisol is not competing against the fat burning you are trying to create. Sleep improves because the nervous system is not chronically overstimulated by wrong morning signals day after day. Everything works better when you fix the foundation, and the foundation is the first hour after waking. Let us also address why most people have never heard this information before in simple terms. Traditional fat loss advice focuses almost entirely on calories in versus calories out as the main variable. This model is not wrong, but it is incomplete. It ignores the hormonal context surrounding food entirely. You can eat in a perfect calorie deficit and still fail to lose belly fat under chronic stress. You can exercise 6 days a week and still accumulate visceral fat if cortisol stays elevated chronically. The missing variable is always hormonal signaling, and the morning window is where that signaling begins daily. Once you understand this, failed fat loss attempts start making sense in a completely new way. You were not lacking discipline or effort. You were missing the biological context that makes it work. This routine provides that context by addressing the hormonal environment before any other variable comes into play. It does not require buying anything, changing your diet dramatically, or restructuring your entire daily life.
It requires 5 small behavioral shifts in the first 60 minutes after waking every single morning. Those 5 shifts are: hydrate with minerals, get morning sunlight, delay caffeine, walk slowly outside, avoid your phone. Each one costs almost nothing and can be implemented starting tomorrow morning without any special preparation needed. The compounding effect of these 5 signals practiced consistently is more powerful than most people expect initially. Within 1 week, energy patterns begin stabilizing and cravings often reduce noticeably in the afternoons. Within 2 to 3 weeks, sleep quality typically improves and morning waking feels more natural and easier. Within 4 to 6 weeks, metabolic flexibility improves enough that the body begins accessing visceral fat more readily. These timelines vary between individuals based on stress levels, sleep history, and current hormonal baseline conditions. But the direction is consistent. Align the signals and the body moves toward releasing stored fat naturally. The body is not your enemy in this process, and it never has been at any point. It has simply been responding perfectly to the signals it received, even when those signals were wrong. Give it the right signals, and it responds just as perfectly in the direction of health instead. This is the most important shift in perspective that anyone pursuing fat loss can possibly make today.
Stop treating your body as something to be defeated, restricted, and forced into submission through sheer willpower alone. Start treating it as a biological system that responds intelligently to the inputs it receives each morning. Provide the inputs it needs, and it will do exactly what you want it to do naturally. Visceral fat is not permanent, stubborn, or uniquely resistant to loss in your specific situation personally. It is stored energy waiting for the hormonal conditions that signal it is safe to be released. Create those conditions in the morning, and that release begins happening automatically throughout the rest of the day. This is not a theory or a trend. It is how human metabolism has always functioned biologically. The morning window has always mattered. Modern habits have simply made it work against us accidentally. Reclaim the morning window, and you reclaim control over the single most important metabolic lever available to you. 5 signals, 60 minutes. A completely different hormonal environment for the entire rest of your day. That is the simplest and most accurate summary of everything covered in this explanation today. Start tomorrow. Drink mineralized water first. Step outside for sunlight. Delay your coffee by 90 minutes. Walk slowly and calmly for 20 minutes. Put your phone down for the first 30 minutes after waking. Do this consistently, and your body will begin moving in the direction you have been trying to reach.
Not because you forced it, because you finally gave it exactly what it needed to feel safe.